Okay, welcome back to the premiere, everyone. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. These photos are taken in the Pine Barrens, and we're doing a virtual tour of the Pine Barrens, which is a rural part of South Jersey, and I'm joined with my grandma, and we're going to be taking Route 206.
Hi.
Route 206 via the Pine Barrens.
Mm-hmm.
The ride's going to be about 45 minutes through some of the most rural parts of the Northeast, and certainly the most rural parts of New Jersey. So the ride from Bordentown down to Hammonton is going to be about 40 minutes. No tolls. We're not paying any tolls. That's
a good part.
Yeah. And then here's a picture of the state. Now, not paying tolls in New Jersey, you're lucky if you get a no-toll road in the state. So we're starting this off in the parking lot.
So true.
Too many tolls in the state. So we're starting this off in the Love's parking lot. The Love's Travel Stop parking lot off of the New Jersey Turnpike to get down to Hammonton. It's Hammonton, not Hamilton.
Oh, it is Hammonton. I've been saying it wrong. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So as you can see by the overpass, we are going under the New Jersey Turnpike right now. And so the Pine Barrens is one of the most mysterious, one of the most haunted places in the Northeast, and certainly one of the most isolated outside of maybe Maine and parts of Vermont and parts of, New Hampshire and some parts of New York State. This might be one of the most isolated parts of the Northeast. It certainly is.
George Washington didn't want to go there. He was up in New York area.
Yeah, and I don't think we're in South Jersey yet. We're still in the Central Jersey area. I would consider Central Jersey to exist. I mean, a lot of people say that Central Jersey doesn't exist. That's a hoax. Central Jersey does exist.
For sure.
Yeah, and, a lot of people have different theories on where the border actually is. My theory is North Jersey is New Brunswick North.
Yes.
Central Jersey is New Brunswick South, and anything north of Six Flags, and then the rest is South Jersey, which would make sense.
Too bad we don't have a map with us today.
Yeah. Well, so right now, I would say we are south of Six Flags. So I would say we entered South Jersey right about now. On Route 206. So we have 2 lanes, and we're heading southbound.
Very good.
2 lanes on each side of the road. So there's not much traffic here, but once it narrows down to 1 lane, there's going to be a big traffic jam. Now, this area is completely isolated. We're not in the Pine Barrens yet. We have about another 10, 15 minutes till we wind up in the Pine Barrens area. Y'all will see the sign on the right for the Pine Barrens. I'll tell you one thing, though. When you do these virtual tours, you need to crack open a cold one.
Yeah, I can get through it all.
Of soda. So, we went
right.
down to the local bodega, cause we're at my grandma's apartment in Montclair, and there's a little shopping center down the street from where she lives, so we get two sodas for $2, so $1 each. No,
not New York prices, for sure not.
And I'm drinking a Mountain Dew. She's drinking a Pepsi, and as you can see on the right, that's all grassland. I mean, there's no farms on the right. It's just grassland. So New Jersey does have mountains, just not around here. It's completely flat. Now, speaking of mountains, Route 206 is one of the longest roads in the state. The New Jersey portion of it goes from a High Point State Park up in Sussex County, which is the farthest north in the state you can go. The reason why they call it High Point State Park is because it's the highest point in the state.
Of course.
And you can see New York and Pennsylvania from it. It goes up 1,900 feet. So that's the tallest mountain in the state. So it's not too tall.
No.
I think we passed a Wawa on the right, and then we have a flea market on the right as well. Or I believe that's a flea market, or they're selling something over there.
You got to sell something somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, it's a this video was filmed on a Sunday, so there's going to be flea markets are typically on Saturdays and Sundays.
People have to have fun.
Yeah, so there's not many tall mountains in the state. There's not many mountains in New Jersey, period. New Jersey's one of the flattest states in the country, but where there are mountains, it's really nice. But this land out here is completely flat. I mean, there's no mountains around here, so it's still 2 lanes. And we're gonna come up about several interchanges and crossroads for other state routes. and we're gonna hit up a couple intersections. And these intersections, some of them are easy to get through, but the ones that go over ones when Route 206 intersects or it's at the junction of two major crossroads, it can get busy, and we got stuck in like a 5-minute traffic jam.
I believe it.
Because this intersection is at this junction is at a huge crossroad, and the lane had to narrow down to one, so the traffic. So we had to edit part of that. To my right is that's the Wawa. I thought that Wawa was at the other intersection.
You got it now.
Yeah. So we are at the interchange of a county route. Right now we're not at a state route crossroad yet. There's a couple state route crossroads, which I just call interchanges. And we're not in the Pine Barrens. You can tell when you're in the Pine Barrens because the leaves are green. The trees are neat.
Needles.
Yes, the pine needles are green. I mean, it's the first couple days of spring, but the leaves haven't grown on the trees yet. They don't grow till maybe like mid-April, so...
Or, into May.
So it's going to take a while before they become fully green. So you can also take this to the Atlantic City Expressway. And to my right looks like some farms. Now, since there's so many farms here, there's not many farms down in the Pine Barrens because the soil is... It's sand.
It's sand. Nothing can't plant anything there.
Except for...
Too near the ocean. We're so near the ocean, rather.
Except for cranberries and blueberries. They produce a lot of those.
Oh, yeah. We love those.
And then there's lots of ghost towns in the Pine Barrens as well. Because, these towns used to be iron manufacturing, but there's not many irons manufacturing places left in the state. So there's a lot of abandoned iron furnaces, but one of them... is in the Pine Barrens, and there's been a lot of people leaving that area, and a lot of people just never settled there because there wasn't much agriculture. I mean, you can't live off of blueberries and cranberries. You need you need something else. And then the pine needles are still green, so we'll be able to tell them there. But there's also a sign of the Pine Barrens, anyways. So it says. Entering the Pine Lands.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so it's a major area. It's really the most isolated part of the state. I think only maybe 25,000, 30,000 people live there. And
how many miles would that be? About 20?
It's a lot of miles.
Oh.
So we're coming up towards the diners. There's a couple diners here at this interchange here. And to my right is some more farms. And then to my left looks like a shopping center, I believe.
There's a lot of farming on the other properties. So at the Pine Barrens, you say there's about 25,000 people living around there?
Yeah. I don't know how those... Yeah, there's a couple of stores there. I mean, they have a Wawa. They probably have maybe a supermarket and a diner to go to and maybe a tax service. So they're fine. Now, this is the part of the journey where the road split off into just one lane, and now this is where the traffic jam starts. And it's going to be for another. It's going to be for another 5 minutes because we're at this major crossroad junction. So we're going to be at this intersection behind this beautiful white Cadillac SUV in front of us.
White Cadillac, yes.
Yeah. So. I was gonna have to edit part of this intersection because it just took so long, and I didn't want to keep y'all waiting here.
No. It's a cut version.
Yes, it is.
Are there a lot of older people living down in the
probably
Pines? Yeah, retirement, right?
Yeah, it's I would not want to retire in this state. I'll tell you that. It's not a good state to retire in.
No, it's too expensive.
Too expensive, the taxes are too high, and it's cold.
Well, it's not the coldest of all.
No, it ranks around average.
Yeah, we're not a real...
No, but people... a lot of people from up north like to... The ones that don't want to go all the way down to Florida, they go down to states like Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Yes.
Sometimes even Delaware. Delaware's wouldn't be so bad.
Delaware's a very cheap state to live in. Cheap state
extremely low taxes. And outside of Wilmington and Dover, it's just farms and really nice beaches, but Delaware, it's a forgotten state.
Yeah,
It
it's
really
a little
is.
tiny.
It's small, but New Jersey, now New Jersey's certainly not a forgotten state, is a misunderstood state. I mean, I hope after maybe you want someone from another part of the country is going to see this video and be like, "Wow, New Jersey is not all cities and abandoned factories and pollution."
No,
This
not.
is actually what a large percentage of the state actually looks like, but I would say 80% of the state's population lives in either the New York metro area,
Yeah, the big
the Philly metro area, or down at the shore.
the shore's big, yes. Very big.
Yeah, places like Atlantic City or Wildwood.
People like to retire and have a home down near the water.
Yeah, we don't have any beach houses.
No, we don't.
Well, we don't go down to the beach anyways. I mean, the only thing we ever do is go down to Asbury Park, but we go down there for the boardwalk and all the good restaurants.
Well, some of the smaller towns have a good beachfront.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to go down to the Jersey Shore, you should probably go down to a more quiet beach because they're prettier. Places like Bay Head, Spring Lake, usually the more wealthy beach towns. Places like that are really safe and still relatively pretty and quiet. I would not recommend Atlantic City or Wildwood.
Cape May's pretty, too.
Cape May is very nice, yeah. But Atlantic City and Wildwood are notorious for tourist robberies and stuff like that. Tourists
Very thick with people again.
Yeah, and
Too many people.
Seaside Heights is a mess, too. I hate Seaside Heights. That place is the boardwalk is just a nightmare. It's like all the weirdest people from New Jersey and Philadelphia come down to Seaside Heights.
Because they're all bored.
Yeah, can you believe we're still stuck at this intersection? I believe we're coming up towards the end of this intersection.
You have to be very patient.
Yes.
True. You have to be very patient.
Yeah.
There's always something like that on a trip.
Okay, so we just passed the interchange or the crossroad. I didn't show you all that because we got stuck at another light. We got stuck at like 3 lights there.
Oh, God.
Or maybe there was a slow person in the front. I don't know. But I feel like the slow drivers are always in the front.
It always seems like that, that's for sure.
So this part of the road is now, I don't see any farms around here. Now it's just trees and power lines. There's a house on the right, or that might be a farm. And then we have a couple of places on the right, couple stores.
Kind of hard to tell from a major highway what's in further.
Yes.
There must be some nice living back there somewhere, but we're not seeing it from the highway.
No, right. But the Pine Barrens, most people that live in the Pine Barrens are not rich people. Not at all. Most people that live in the Pine Barrens live in trailer parks or in really tiny houses or sometimes ranches. Ranches are nice, though. I like ranches, but trailer parks are nightmares. There are some nice ones in some places.
Well, I don't think that people that want to retire are going to retire to Jersey, to the Sussex or Middle County, somewhere like that. No. They're going to go where it's warmer if they can. Although
the Pine Barrens are quiet, so...
Quiet
in South Jersey...
Hey, a lot of older people want a lot of action.
Yes.
Some people retire to New York City.
And I tell you, though, the South Jersey is notorious for being affordable. It's North Jersey that really brings up the state's cost of living.
Oh, of course.
South
right.
Jersey is notoriously affordable. Philly, in general, the Philly metro area in Philly's one of the cheapest cities in the country. For a city, its population. We're stuck at another intersection right behind this truck from a company called Havaland or something like that, Fuel and Oil. So they're carrying gas on that truck.
Oh, God.
Probably to a local gas station.
I don't want any accidents here.
No. But we're still... This is the second intersection where we're stuck at the crossroads. I mean, I tell you, New Jersey, they have to do something about this because these crossroad intersections are just so busy. And they're really becoming a nuisance, but you can't just build overpasses or trestles. Those cost millions of dollars in tax dollars.
Billions.
Sometimes.
Billion.
You know what's crazy is that, like, they'll say, this is just an example. Say a project is, originally, they had a plan for it to cost $4 million. It's going to cost more than that. It's going to cost probably, like,
three
double.
Times, sometimes
three times that. You know, the government is always doing something shady. So here is the... interchange.
Misunderstanding things.
So this is the Route 38 interchange. To my left is a USA Gas, which I've never heard of before. I've heard of US Gas, but I've never heard of USA Gas. So this intersection is also very busy at the intersection of Route 38 and Route 206. Now there's a difference. There's different two types of routes. You have state routes. NJ 38 is Route 38. So that's a New Jersey state route.
Yeah.
But Route 206 is a U.S. route. So we're at the intersection. So I believe we have a delayed green because the other sides are going before us. So we do have a delayed green. You know, you would think because we're in the middle of nowhere, you'd think that the traffic would be much better. But New Jersey's notorious for bad roads and traffic. New Jersey, you know, what's the funny thing is New Jersey ranks pretty much almost dead last for road conditions, but we spend the most money on our roads. I don't know what they're doing with that money. So yeah, look to my left. All the cars just stuck at the crossroad.
Oh God, jeez.
I mean, that is just unbelievable. And they have somebody's gonna have to do something. Maybe they can make like a roundabout or something like that. Okay, to my right, more farmland and more grass and more crops being grown. We're still not in the Pine Barrens yet, but we're getting there soon. Might be another 5-10 minutes before we get there.
Well, you see, people rather go to the shore, though, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people hike in the Pine Barrens, and I think now is an appropriate time to talk about the urban legends of the Pine Barrens.
Please do.
Because right now, we're not going by any major crossroads, and we're not getting stuck in any more traffic jams. And there's literally nothing on this road besides farms and trailer parks, so we might as well just talk about the Pine Barrens. The Pine Barrens urban legends. So, you've heard of the Jersey Devil, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Witnessed their playing.
What do you mean you witnessed?
I've been watching the TV, watching them, play ice hockey.
Yes. Now, the New Jersey Devils do get their name from what they call the Jersey Devil, which is the weirdest looking devil. And once we end this clip, I'll have to show Grandma a picture. It is the craziest thing ever. It is honestly...
Is it an animal?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he lives in the Pine Barrens.
Oh, we gotta go get one.
Yeah. He's looking for sandwiches and lost Philly trash from the shore. Lost Philly trash trying to find their way home from the shore.
Oh, funny.
Because a lot of people in Philly say that they get stuck in the Pine Barrens and don't know where they're at because at 1 minute they're on the shore and 10 minutes later, once they leave the shore, they're in this whole rural area that they don't know well at all. You know?
They didn't know existed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the Pine Barrens has that. And then there's also...
It's a nice name, Pine Barrens. Sounds like, a cowboy rest, a ranch.
Yep. We're stuck at a intersection right here. This one did not cause a traffic jam, thank God. So there's also there's a couple of ghost towns. One of the most notorious ones is Basto Village, and there's going to be a road to Basto Village, and it's going to be a sign saying Basto Village, and you can visit
Basto Village, yep.
You can visit the town. I believe they have a museum or something like that, and you can actually go there. It's not like a ghost town that you can't go to. You can. Otherwise, the state probably wouldn't have put a sign there if you
must have some historical importance.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the old, mines out west and gold mines and all the stuff everybody was chasing for a long time. Money. Was that an iron? You think there's an iron mine?
But these manufacturing jobs, a lot of the ones that are dead, like coal mining, they have to switch to renewable energy because coal mining is not going to come back. Now, they do import a lot of coal, though, to other countries.
From other countries.
Yeah, a lot. We export a lot of coal to other countries.
That way, yes.
Yeah, and a lot of the homes in like West Virginia and Pennsylvania, some of them are heated by coal as well. Some of the older ones.
Oh, when I was a child in Wisconsin, we had coal heating. That's all gone, long gone. Thank God.
Yeah,
it just pollutes the air.
And coal is not good for your health. A lot of these people die at the age of 40, 50, 60. They die young. And
even younger than that. True.
Sometimes, yeah, the lungs are not good. You have to switch to renewable energy, but these people don't want to do it. And look at what's happening in West Virginia and rural Pennsylvania. They're in terrible shape because they're really stubborn and don't want to switch to renewable energy. I mean, and
they don't have a choice if there is no coal available. They have to.
However, there are bigger employers in West Virginia than coal mining. Walmart, Kroger, and West Virginia University.
That's all retail. Retail.
And West Virginia University are all bigger employers than the coal mining is.
But manufacturing is still the biggest way to make money.
Yes. So now I would say we are entering the Pine Barrens area right now. Not yet, actually, because there's no pine trees, but there's a lot of trees around here, and there's not much more farms. We might see a couple, but not many until we get to the Hammonton area right now. So,
Hammonton, New Jersey.
Yes, it's not Hamilton. Hamilton is a different city. There's Hamilton near Princeton and Trenton, which has like a good 70,000 people. It's a pretty big town. But around here, the biggest town in the Pine Barrens would have to be Presidential Lake Estates, which is in the middle of the Pine Barrens. Don't ask me why, but this village, it's a decent-sized place. It has 2,000 people, not really big, but it has 2,000 people, and the homes, they're not like trashy homes. They're nice colonials and split levels and ranches in the middle of nowhere. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how, people down there,
but they
go to the store.
They
probably have to drive at least 40 minutes to get to ShopRite or something like that.
Oh, yeah, long distances to get their food.
More like 25 minutes.
Maybe they just love being away from people and things,
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
I like to be near people.
It's okay. We're seeing a few pine trees, but once we get into the Pine Barrens, I think we are in the Pine Barrens. But once we head deeper into the Pine Barrens, we'll see more pine trees.
I see.
But there's still a couple here. Now, there's a lot of pine trees in other states, too.
Oh, yeah.
Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina have a lot of pine trees. So does Maine. Maine, for some reason, has a lot of pine trees. Oregon does.
They've been there for a long time, Drew. Mm-hmm. Cold weather. Pines exist in cold weather. Mm-hmm. They exist in the warm weather, too, but you don't...
Yeah, they can exist in both because there's a lot of pine trees down south, especially in South Carolina and Georgia.
Well, it's a pretty tree, and it's
it never loses its leaves. I mean, it's needles.
It's needles. No,
I keep on forgetting to call it a needle. So to my right we have a Conoco gas station, and the gas price is, I believe it was two something. New Jersey gas prices used to be dirt cheap. Now, we'll talk more about that later. We're at the junction of Route 70, and this is something smart. They did a roundabout here, so like a circle.
Oh, that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's so smart.
Yeah, so basically, that's better for the traffic. I mean, we didn't get stuck at an intersection. Now, Route 70 can take you through the Pine Barrens. The intersection of Route 70 and Route 72 is the center of the Pine Barrens. And you won't see many people out there. It's just amazing
it's not populated.
The amazing thing about the Pine Barrens is we're still about half an hour away from the beach. We're pretty far from the beach, but there's still sand soil. Well, pine trees, in sand soil in general, most of the trees in general in most places are pine trees. But New Jersey is not the only state with Pine Barrens. There's a Pine Barren is the definition of an isolated area with pine trees where they can't build too much land or agriculture.
Just a big forest, is that? Yeah, just a huge forest.
Now, they don't do much ranching down in South Jersey. Not a lot. You have, up north they do in places like Sussex and Warren County. They have cows, horses. Same thing with Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania doesn't have as much agriculture as New Jersey does, but they have a lot more ranching in Pennsylvania. We are definitely
produce a lot of meat products.
We are definitely in the Pine Barrens. I mean, there's much more trees with needles on them.
Oh, for sure, here they come.
Yeah. So we just passed the sign that said entering the Pinelands.
Oh, yeah.
But for some reason, I still see homes and fences and.
Sounds like on the when you say Pine Barrens, it sounds like a very attractive place to be. Very isolated, but very special.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the people in there, if there's 2,000 living in there, people, did
20,
you say
about 25,000.
25,000. That was in the residence you were talking about.
Well, scattered throughout the Pine Barrens, give or take, there's probably about 25,000.
5,000 people, yeah.
But the land is around there. There's so much land that it is not even remotely crowded. I mean, it's very boring.
You probably can't go very deep into the ground either. You can't. You have to have something to support.
Well, speaking of the ground, I'm glad you bring that up. Speaking of underground, that's where a lot of New York City's water supply is the Pine Barrens.
Oh.
Underground water and reservoirs underground.
Yeah, that's right.
Are in the Pine Barrens.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Now you said that they also get a lot of water for New York City and upstate New York.
Upstate New York. They pump it down from upstate New York.
But they probably get it from all over the place because New York City's big, so there's probably going to be several different places that are carrying New York's water.
But the upstate New York has very clean water. That's why the New Yorkers like it. Comes far, far better than if they got it from immediate areas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still passing by a lot of houses.
We have good water in New York City, believe it or not.
Yeah. Most of the houses around here, though, are trailer parks. They're not exactly nice. Now, to my right is a CVS pharmacy in the middle of the Pine Barrens. They gotta get their meds somewhere.
Yeah, and people have to live somewhere. Where you're poor, if you can buy a mobile home like that and you park in a trip, that's the way of living.
Yeah.
It's got a roof over your head. You're not sleeping under a bridge.
So we are stuck at another intersection. I believe this is one of the last intersections, and we're behind this white Ford Explorer. That's like a 2010 model, I believe. Maybe a little older, maybe a little earlier. I'm not
you
sure.
sure know your cars.
I do. Yep, I love American cars. I don't like
all foreign cars, huh?
Yeah, I prefer American cars. I'd like Michigan. You will not find one foreign car in Michigan.
Better not. They got to employ all those people there. They better buy a company car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So now it's all. So now I don't see any pine trees around here.
Not at all.
Not
I
yet.
don't either.
Well, I just saw the
They're
sign
hiding
saying,
them from us.
so I just saw the sign that said entering the Pinelands, but I don't see any pine trees.
You really have to leave this road.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably get onto them in a minute. Okay, I see them now. I see a few on the left.
Yeah, me too.
There's a truck that said Lehigh Valley Dairy.
Lehigh Valley. That's Pennsylvania.
Yep, that's Allentown, Bethlehem, Eastern Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's not Hershey's. Hershey's.
No, they have a college up in Lehigh.
Yep. I think it's Lehigh University.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. So Lehigh Valley consists of 3 cities. You have Easton, Bethlehem, and Allentown. Now, Easton and Bethlehem are nice, but Allentown is pretty rough.
It is, huh?
Yeah. A lot of Pennsylvania is rough, though. Speaking of rough, New Jersey roads are rough. Yeah. So our Pennsylvania roads are worse. There's like a number you can call to report them, you know.
Oh,
and
really?
In New Jersey, reckless driving is such an issue in New Jersey that they
leave the potholes just to keep them from speeding.
Now, here's the thing. There's so many reckless drivers in New Jersey that there's a number. You'll probably pass these signs maybe like every couple of miles. They'll have a sign that says, call hashtag 77 or the number sign 77, report reckless driving. They'll have those posted. So if you see reckless driving, you call a number. Speaking of reckless driving, I don't know if this had to do with reckless driving or not, but you will not believe this story. We were driving back from Philadelphia yesterday, and we were on the Garden State Parkway, exiting at 151, our exit. Yeah. And just before we got to the exit, in between the grass median, on the parkway, you know the driveway where the state troopers hang out and try to catch speeders? Yep. They had one, and there were 3 troopers in there, and I was like, what? Okay, they're looking for somebody. And then once we got onto the overpass to get on by our house, those 3 cop cars were pulling over a black BMW. I don't know what it was. The person probably had, like, maybe kidnapped a girl, put drugs in their car.
Oh, who knows?
Maybe they had pounds of heroin. I mean, something like that, probably. I mean, they were looking for someone. Maybe the person robbed the bank or something.
Oh, sure, they got.
But it wasn't a police chase.
It wasn't.
No.
They're just examining cars. That's dangerous work.
Yeah. To my left is some farms. I believe those are cranberry or blueberry farms. And then we have an Exxon to the right. So, oh my gosh. So to my right, there's a little country store. And then there was a giant gorilla.
Oh, damn it. Just a sculpture piece so big.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Did
was
it light up? Does it light up?
I don't know. Well, it was during the day, so I couldn't really tell. But there's that's what they call a country store. It's a gas station and a restaurant.
Sure, of course.
And a convenience store, and they call those country stores or general stores. They have them a lot in the rural areas.
Got them everywhere in the United States. Yeah. You go to northern Wisconsin and vacation land, you go fishing, and there's a little store like that. But in between maybe 3-4 miles, 5-6 miles, they'll have another one.
And while we're talking about gas, we should point out that New Jersey gas prices are higher than they used to be. They used to be dirt cheap. Maybe like 5-10 years ago, they were some of the cheapest in the country because we had oil refineries. We still do have oil refineries in the Newark area and, the Meadowlands. But Chris Christie, I don't know if it was Chris Christie or Phil Murphy I think it was Chris Christie. He screwed up something in 2016, and now our gas taxes are really high. Not as bad as Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, you don't want to get gas in Pennsylvania.
You don't know.
Maybe when you're driving down Interstate 80 and you get to the last exit in New Jersey, there's a Exxon at the last exit. There's an Exxon, and then there's a TA, a travel center, the Travel Centers of America. Get gas there.
Oh, best.
Yeah, try to avoid Pennsylvania. Try to avoid getting gas in Pennsylvania.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then just get the gas once you leave Pennsylvania and go into Ohio. Yeah, now states with the cheapest gas would probably be Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, and then the Midwest, because there's a lot of oil refineries in Texas, eastern Texas for sure. Yeah. And same thing with Louisiana. Yeah, now we are deep into the Pine Barrens. There is nothing, no houses, nothing around here. This is all. It's
all forest.
Yep, no forest. Not even any farms anymore. No, just open land. It's very marshy. And sometimes
that's good for the birds.
In some parts of the Pine Barrens, you can actually see, there's some houses on the left. People do live in the Pine Barrens.
My God.
In some parts of the Pine Barrens, you have ponds, and in these ponds are these trees that have no leaves, even in the summer. And they're basically dead trees. It's crazy. So yeah, to my left was a pine tree.
They're like perches for the big birds that want to fly in and sit on near where there's water.
Yeah. The only difference about New Jersey swamps versus Louisiana swamps, no alligators.
No quicksand.
No. New Jersey doesn't have a lot of deadly animals. We do have bears and coyotes, though, and those...
Well, they all left a long time ago. That's the problem.
They're hibernating. They're coming back.
They're back. There's the species that you think is extinct. Sometimes you go out and to do some odd thing in a forest somewhere, maybe just to have a little walk, and you'll see a bird that they've listed as extinct for years, and it's still there. They are hiding. There's a few of them. And, of course, nature, people who are in the nature preserves look for those type of things so that they can breed them, get them and to start breeding again. Yeah. We lost a lot of nice animals and birds and just all different kinds of wildlife. It's sad. Well, we didn't miss the dinosaurs though.
So yeah, now there's a lot more pine trees on my right. Yeah, like I said, a good rule of thumb. To my left, that looks like a bar. A lot of cars in the parking lot too.
Sure.
Maybe
they're open for business now, big time.
Yeah, maybe they were having like a program in there or something, or like an event today, or maybe like maybe like a annual anniversary.
And now you can go past 50% filled. They can have, that's the new law, I guess, with COVID. So schools are starting in April.
In Montclair, most schools in New Jersey are open right now, but Montclair had a fight with the union.
Oh, with the teachers
yeah.
union. Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, now we are deep into the Pine Barrens. Like, we are deep in the Pine Barrens, people.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Now that looks like Wisconsin. You get lots and just thick with trees, and that's great. I like that.
Yeah. A lot of trucks and a lot of big pickup trucks and Jeep Wranglers with those big tires. You need big tires if you want to drive down some of these dirt roads. Because to get to these hiking trails, they are dirt roads. So you need either a pickup or a Jeep. Don't drive your sedan or don't drive...
Oh, don't ruin your nice car.
Don't drive your Toyota Camry.
Or your nice truck. Either get an older truck.
Yeah. Don't drive your Toyota Camry into the forest of the Pine Barrens. I don't recommend that.
Oh, gosh. Got to be ready for everything in life, hey?
Yeah.
You have to plan. That's the idea.
Look at this. I mean, I feel like we're driving through the summer now.
Yeah.
All the leaves are on the trees.
Yeah. There's greenery. Yeah, as long as there's other trees that are there, too, and are just perking up now.
Yeah. Now, to my right, we saw a couple of pine trees with no needles, and that was because they were in water. You can't grow basically a dead pine tree.
No. But it's a tree you can plant very easy if you need.
Yeah.
You get a little tiny bush and you plant it, and then it takes years and years and years to grow. Yeah. That's why
it's very marshy around here.
Well, look at the trees in front of your house in Montclair. They're 200 years old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Montclair has nice tree-lined streets. That's a very important thing about Montclair. Tree-lined streets are nice.
That's true for any place. It makes it more scenic.
Yeah.
You don't want to look at...
Even nearby East Orange has tree-lined streets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now we're still in the Pine Barrens. And as you can see, now we're pretty much in the middle of the Pine Barrens because all the trees are now pine trees. No more oaks, no more spruces. And the ones that don't have leaves are on my right are submerged in pond water.
It's so shallow, it's water.
Yeah, and so...
So wet.
You can't, like I said, you can't grow trees and you can't, they're basically, the pond is drowning the trees.
They need to get their roots down to the ground, that's right. Yeah. Well, it's the summer. As the spring comes by, everything will still will produce more needles, more leaves on the trees that are there, and grasses and stuff will turn more green. It's just it's spring though. Today is March 22nd, right?
That's the voiceover. This video is filmed on Sunday.
Oh, so that's
Saturday. Sorry.
So that would be the 19th.
Yes.
Now that 20th was the first day of spring at 5:45 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
We're in spring now.
Yeah. Feels like it's 63 degrees today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yep, so now not all the trees are pine trees anymore, but I would say maybe like 3 minutes ago, that was the center of it all.
Yeah.
But this is still considered the Pine Barrens. The Pine Barrens go down pretty much to Wharton State Forest. And if you Google the most remote part of New Jersey, they say Wharton State Forest, and we are smack dab in the middle of Wharton State Forest, and we're certainly in the most isolated part of the state, pretty much. And that's,
yeah,
something you have to appreciate. And I hope that, because a lot of outsiders think that, New Jersey is this congested state. A lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't. So to my right are cranberry bushes. For sure, yeah, they definitely produce cranberries to my right and to my left.
They have to have water. Cranberries have to have a lot of water. You have to be in a lot of water,
Yeah.
In a lot of water.
And they grow in the sand, so.
Yeah. And then you see people pulling them out of the water. Your families that cleaning out the cranberries in the water somehow. I have to go and watch that someday, Drew.
Yeah.
That's the only way to get experience, right? Get in there.
But as I was saying, I hope that the Pine Barrens, and I don't think this ever will, they probably will never become urban. I genuinely hope they don't. But,
no.
But the reason why...
The weight of the buildings...
Now, as I was saying, the reason why this place is so isolated is because back in the day, because the soil was sand, they couldn't build any agriculture there.
No.
And ever since then, just nothing just came that way. There's no jobs.
It doesn't support any buildings or anything.
If you lived in the Pine Barrens, you'd probably have to make the 45-minute commute. So to Philly, or you'd probably have to make the 2-hour commute to New York, and those are both. I mean, we're nowhere near any of the cities.
Who knows? Thousands and thousands of years ago, that part of New Jersey might have been swamplands. Who knows?
Well, it's probably there still is swamps around here. All the way around.
Big. Yeah.
Now
Well, you're right on top of the ocean.
Look at this.
You know?
I mean, there's barely any cars anymore. There were just 2 cars that went by,
Isn't that something?
and there's only 2 cars in front of us.
No reason. Of course, there's no air pollution from gas down there. That's good. That's
air
good.
quality down there is probably really good.
Yeah.
Around here, air quality is always not. Air quality around here is not the best.
Yes.
So to my left was the fork to get to Basto Village, the ghost town.
Yes. I'd like
which
to go
I've heard
there.
of. I've never been to Basto Village, but we might visit there one day. It's just so far down. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So I could,
We could take a private plane. There's probably no airports there.
There might be.
There might be one little one. Who knows?
Yeah. In Alaska, there's airports everywhere in the isolated parts because you can't drive anywhere.
God, yeah. It's interesting, though, how the Earth is and how you have to live in all these areas to understand it best, Mm-hmm. You probably won't live here your whole life, Drew. You'll probably move to Arizona or who knows.
I would skip out on Arizona. I do not want to live in a desert.
No, okay.
I'd rather live in the Northeast or the South. I'd probably spend I would like to
you mean
spend most
Vermont and New Hampshire? It's cold up there, though.
No, I don't. I'm talking about New Jersey, Pennsylvania, but I want to also live in somewhere in the deep South, too.
Oh, well, we'll have to get down there and see my friend that lives down in North Carolina. She lived in Florida for 35 years, but now she's in North Carolina.
Now, to my right is a cell tower in the middle of nowhere, so maybe the cell service around here isn't so bad. It probably is, because when I was taking the photos down there, it was taking them a long time to load. So, yeah, if you live around here, your Wi-Fi is probably not great, and that's another reason why no one lives around here.
Oh, for sure.
You can't if you want a good job, most good jobs are on a computer, and if it takes too long to, drive to a city or commute to a city, there's no trains down here, so forget that. And then it takes too long to get into the city, and then you're like, oh wow, I think I could just do this work from home, but with the crappy Wi-Fi, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yep, we're officially ending this tour, everyone. Yeah, I really, really hope everyone enjoyed. There's a lot of cranberry and blueberry forests around here.
I gotta go
to
down
the left
and get
and to the right.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm a big blueberry person.
Yeah, you can make it with pretty much anything.
Healthiest thing for you, blueberries.
So that's going to finish our virtual tour of Route 206. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and like to the channel.
And get your refreshments.
Yes. I was sipping Mountain Dew the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah, and I got my Pepsi here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone, make sure to like, subscribe, and God bless to all you guys.
Right, bye-bye. Have a good life.
Bye.
That was so nice.
Yeah, it was a good one.